Hello, welcome back to another video. Today I am building things, basically. I have like a ton of old pallets and I'm basically turning them into a variety of different things. The thing that I'm going to show you today is I am building myself a potting bench for outside, and honestly I can't wait to have this. Like, I am sick of just not really having anywhere to properly do all of my potting up, all of my little gardening bits. I end up actually either doing them inside or like just somewhere random in the garden, so it's going to be really good to actually have like a table to do that on. So I'm going to go through and basically show you what I do. So my DIY skills are probably rudimentary at best. I am by no means like a DIY expert, by no means a woodworker, carpenter, whatever you want to call it. I would actually love to learn more about carpentry, but this is completely like beginner friendly, and I want to say idiot proof, but probably not. Yeah, I can be a bit of an idiot with DIY, not gonna lie. So I'm gonna sort of like prep the pallets, just sort of like cut where I need to, and then I'll show you basically like what I've done so that you can, I guess, do the same really. So yeah, I'm gonna get on with that, and then I will show you the building of it. So this is like the current state of my living room. Well, this is just one bit of it. These are, I think they're like Euro pallets. These are just the ones that I'm using for this project. Equally, you know, you could use pretty much any pallets and just sort of go with like the same principles, I guess. I am making my potting bench, so I am cutting along this bit, and it will be like that bit that I use. So that will be like the depth of it. And then I can actually then use this bit for like a planter or something like that. So yeah, I'm going to get on with the cuts and get on with taking any of this apart. Honestly, it takes me a while, so I'm going to do this off camera, but I will then show you exactly what I've done and what pieces I've got, so that you can then go ahead and do the same for yourself. So basically what I've done is, with the Euro pallets, I've cut off, so see they are like 5 boards wide, and I've cut it off basically after 2 of the boards on the end, and so that this cut, so these are the like leftovers, and it's basically the cut is like right to this sort of level, and then this bit has the extra bit sticking up. So this is the bit I'm going to use for the potting bench, and then these bits, because I've done this on 2 Euro pallets, I've then got 2 of these end pieces which I can actually then put together and put some side supports on and turn that into a planter. So what I've then done is basically cut this down to size, and then taken off the boards that were on the bottom, but I've left the blocks on one, and then on the other, which is here, I've taken off the boards and the blocks, so that that is going to be like the shelf, and this is going to be like the base basically. And then I basically disassembled another pallet. So then here I have, these are the like thinner bits of pallet wood. So obviously you can see on here there's these 2 that are wider, and then this one that is thinner or skinnier or whatever. So I've then collected up 5 of the thinner boards, and then they are going to be put together and make the top of the bench. I was just going to do it like this, but then I didn't want there to be gaps in it. I wanted it to be like a solid bit of wood. So I've got that with separate boards, and then I'm going to put those together. These are then any bits that I've stripped off the bottom that have the blocks still attached. So I've made sure to get 6 of those, so 3 for each side of the bench. So there's essentially going to be the base, the sides with the blocks still attached, and then the shelf is going to then be able to rest on the blocks, and the top of the potting bench can then like rest on the top blocks. It might not make sense right now, but it makes sense in my head, and that's what we're going with, and then you'll obviously see it when I put it all together. So I did do a really like rudimentary sketch, so you can sort of see, so this has now changed, these side bits, that's now going to be like vertical bits of wood, and then that dotted line, that's going to be where a shelf is put in. So you can roughly see what I'm going for, but that is the sort of vibe. And then, yeah, let's see how it goes. So now I've kind of got all of the individual pieces, I'm going to start assembling it. So this may look really odd, what I'm doing. It's because I am doing this by myself. Because I am way too impatient to wait for like my partner to be available so that I can have a hand. So essentially what I've got now is this bit is the base, this is then the shelf, and then these are going to be the side structures. I've then got another 3 for this side, and then I need to build the top of it as well. So I haven't built the top yet. So far, it's like a balancing act. So far I've just got all of the individual pieces so far. Equally, it's gonna kind of bug me a bit, but it's not actually an issue. I've got like 2 like thinner ones on that side, and then 1 wider one, and then on this side it's going to be like 2 wider ones and 1 thinner one. It's just how it ended up being, unfortunately. So the shelf bit, it's not gonna actually be that skinny. Basically, these pieces are going to attach more like onto the bottom of the base. So imagine this is the base, they're going to attach more like that on the bottom. Currently obviously they're going a lot farther over, just because I'm trying to attach the side pieces to the shelf first, just so that then that is all like level, and I then know where to attach the pieces at the bottom of the side pieces onto the bottom of the base. So that's just how it's working in my brain. Equally, you know, someone that is a bit more skilled in DIY is probably going to look at what I'm doing and go, oh my gosh, what on earth are you doing? There was a much easier way of doing that. But it's all part of the fun, isn't it? Really? So I'm just going to get all of these sort of like all leveled up. There we go. So then essentially there will be the top that will go over these blocks and screw into these blocks here. But for now, let's get the shelf attached. So I'm just gonna like pre-drill a few holes. Does anyone else have this where the drill bit, it ends up going into the actual thing? And just get stuck in there. So annoying. Haha! We got it! You know what I find? I think when I do all this stuff with basically like no skills and no knowledge, other than just how to turn the drill on and off. It's like really satisfying when you then manage to figure something out, because you're like, oh my god, I did it. And it's like such a bigger moment than it probably is for other people. Like, it's just so satisfying being able to figure it out yourself and know what to do, you know? So I've drilled all the holes. That basically helps to stop like the wood splitting. That's really hot. And then what I'm going to do, this is then just a little, I don't actually know what they're called, but it's like a drill bit so that you can do like countersunk screws. So that means like you won't have the screws basically like sticking out over the top. So I'll do this. I'll show you like a bit of a clip of it so you can see what it looks like. So that's what you then end up with when you drill with that other bit. So this is what it looks like. Oh gosh, that's really warm. So that is kind of what it looks like. Just gonna pick this up with my jumper because it's hot. So that's what it looks like, and that basically helps to drill that so that you can get the screw in, and then it sort of like sits in that hole, so you then like they're not raised. So there are some of these that are sticking up a bit, purely because with these nails, so I've obviously trimmed them on the other side and then hammered them through so that there's no like sharp bits of nail sticking out on the bottom of the shelf. But I'm then just going to go through, like, once I've built it, and just kind of like any, you know, especially the ones like on these edges here where they've got the blocks underneath, like there'll be these blocks underneath anyway, I can then probably hammer those through a bit more. But equally, I'd rather there be a little bit of a like the top of the nail sticking out on the top rather than a sharp bit sticking out underneath. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and put the screws in and get all of that attached. So I am just dropping the nails apparently, well, screws. So I'm just using like these really long screws, but I am just using ones basically just long enough so that they go through both layers of this wood and then into the block itself. So that is going to be long enough basically. So let's get those in. There we go, first screw in. Now I'm just going to go through and basically just do like probably one on each. I mean like on one of each of the side pieces, just so that they are like in position properly and they're not going to move about. So what I've got here is I haven't done all of the holes for the countersunk bit probably deep enough, so there is a bit sticking up, but honestly I don't really care. To be honest, I'm really not bothered. You know, it's not like some masterpiece that's going on to be sold, it's literally going to go in my garden. There we go, one on each side over here, and then we're going to do one on each side over here, and lose one of my screws. Brilliant. Now, can I retrieve the lost screw? No, I don't know where it's gone. Okie dokie. So for anyone that doesn't really know what they're doing with a drill, and equally I find doesn't have the strength to like be pushing it with one hand. I find holding the drill like that and then pushing it down on that side and doing it in like little intervals, like little bits. I find that especially, I don't know if it's something to do with it being pallets and like maybe the blocks on the pallets, I do find them quite hard to drill into and like put screws into, so I just find that helps. And I don't have super strong arms, so I have to use 2 hands to sort of push the screw in a bit. There we go. So basically as many of my tools as possible are pink, and I absolutely love it, and that is completely wonky. Oh no, it's not. I was holding the thing wonky. Perfect. Obviously, because with pallets, they're not, you know, they're not perfect. They're not like perfectly made. So I do find that, especially when I am keeping the pallets all together, that you know, things aren't perfect. The wood's not always level, and sometimes there's like, you know, chunks out of the wood. I do find that, like, for me, I actually prefer it because it almost gives more of like a rustic feel to it, I guess. And we have a tabletop. Lovely. Now, which side do I want at the front? Yeah, that's fine. Oh shit, me, that's heavy. Christ. Whew. I think basically it's going to kind of be like going into the blocks rather than into the wood. So I'm going to have like a little lip at the front and then a bit of a lip at the back as well. I don't know how I'm supposed to check whether this is like level each side. It'll be fine. It's a pallet potting bench, for Christ's sake. Oh, just drill your holes in and get on with it. My plan, what I'm thinking, is if I were to put, oh shit, if I put those underneath, is it going to give me enough lift, basically? If I do this back corner, then it will be like roughly equal. Oh my god, this is heavy. Okay, no, that's not going to work. That's not where I need the blocks. Bollocks. So I do this, and then my partner wonders why I'm so covered in bruises all the time. I think where the blocks actually need to go is under here to raise it up so that I can then attach it all into there. Why does that feel really wonky? Oh, never mind. Now, is that high enough? Actually, that is perfect. Now let's just check. Honestly, if it's not, oh, it is. It's fine. I was going to say if it's not, I actually don't care at this point. I just want to get this finished. Right. Drill bit activated. So I've just drilled the holes so that the wood doesn't split, and then now I'm going to go in with the countersunk screw bit. Okay. Oh, let's go. Done. She's finished. Well, still needs varnishing. But I'm not doing that today. No siree. Now, the moment of truth will be I'm going to take out all of these and if it all stays up. Because if it does, great. If it doesn't, I don't know what to do. There we go. Fini. Except for the varnishing. I'm super sweaty and super tired. I don't even know if you can see me. Super sweaty, super tired. Does anyone else plan their hair wash days when they're going to be DIYing? It's just going to get gross anyway. So yeah, that is so far the passing bench. I will cut to me varnishing it and then putting it into place because I'm not doing that today. So I will link the varnish that I used in the description box, but basically the day that I decided to do the varnish on this, it was so windy to the point where my tripod was falling over. So to avoid a cracked screen, I just decided to not film it, but here is the final product. I'm still going to add some bits of wood like around the top of the bench so that nothing can like fall over the back or the sides, and then I'm thinking of adding in some like hooks on the side of the bench for like tools and bits like that. So stay tuned, I might show those in a later video of anything else that I add to the potting bench, but for now this is the finished product. So feel free to drop in the comments below if you decide to make this yourself and want to tell me how it goes, or if you've got any other ideas for palette projects, I'd love to hear them. But yeah, I hope you have a great weekend and a great week. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you next week. Bye.